Hey chemistry students, so today we're going to test the pH levels of different chemicals. So right here we have sodium hydroxide, and if we come over here we have this pH indicator.
So we have universal indicator, and add the universal indicator to the sodium hydroxide and let's observe. Cool, so what can we tell?
So we see that is a purple color, so there are more OH ions that are creating this purple color, this alkaline.
Very cool. So now let's see what happens when we put our universal indicator in with a strong acid, hydrochloric acid. So hydrochloric acid in with universal indicator, and we see
Bright red.
right, so very low pH, meaning what?
That we have more H plus ions that are creating this low pH level.
Right, so hydrochloric acid, very acidic, sodium hydroxide, very basic.
So here we have some tap water, and as we can see, water is neutral, and so that is why we have this green color. Now, let's see what happens when we have the table salt, sodium chloride. So to do this, what we're going to do is...
Let's see what happens when we use tap water with sodium chloride. So will the pH change? And it's still green. So
still green, it's still
sodium
neutral.
chloride does not change the pH of that solution. And now let's see what happens when we take vinegar. Vinegar is acetic acid, 5% solution. So go ahead.
All right.
It's aqueous, meaning dissolved in water. But we say it's a weak acid because it only partially splits up into the ions H plus and C2H3O2 minus. So strong acids have a negative pKa and they dissociate 100%. So 1 mole of HCl is 1 mole of H plus. But a weak acid, 1 mole of acetic acid is not 1 mole of that acetate. And we want to know what is going to happen when we take the conjugate base of that weak acid. So a salt, sodium acetate.
We're going to add some.
Isn't that cool? So what do we see?
We see that it's a light blue color, and
so what happened to the pH?
We can see that from the light blue color, it's more basic.
So the pH increased. Anytime you have a weak acid, if you have a salt of its conjugate base, then that conjugate base will cause the pH to increase to become more basic. So let's keep playing. Now what do we have?
All right, so right here we have ammonium chloride, and let's test the pH of it. So we're gonna add some water since it's solid.
Ooh.
And ooh, it's this nice pretty, I guess orangish yellow color. And what we can see is ammonium is an acid, so that is why it's giving us a low pH value.
Right, so ammonium NH4 plus is a weak acid, and it will cause the pH to be lower, more acidic, but the chloride is the conjugate base of a strong acid, so the chloride did not change the pH of the solution. So we put base in these little quotes. If you have the conjugate base of a strong acid, it's not basic enough to cause the pH to go higher. But if you have conjugate base of like acetate, so the acetic acid, it is basic enough to cause that pH to go up. So very cool. Let's keep looking. What do we see?
So right here we have ammonia, and if we add...
So this is household ammonia.
Oh.
Very cool.
And it turns this nice pretty purple color, and what we can tell from this is that it's basic, it's got a higher pH, and
we have hydroxide anions. So household ammonia is just you take ammonia gas and you bubble it through water and it forms the ammonium cation, which is a weak acid, and then OH minus, which is a strong base. That strong base is what gives us that very, very high pH, high concentration of OH minus anions.
so what we can tell from this chart is in the pKa values, so strong acids are going to have negative pKa values, while weak acids are going to have positive pKa values.
And the lower the pKa, then the stronger the acid. So we define a strong acid as that negative pKa, and that the conjugate base is not really basic enough to affect the pH. So if you took a solid of sodium nitrate and dissolved it in water, do you think it would affect the pH? So no, right? No, it wouldn't affect the pH because it's the conjugate base of a strong acid. But if you took sodium fluoride and put it into water, what do you think would
It
happen?
would be more basic.
Right, the pH would go up, it would be more basic. So fluoride, acetate, ammonia, those conjugate bases of these weak acids actually cause the pH to increase. So very cool.
Yes.